Well, thank you everyone for attending today's remote remembrance service for my father. A special thanks to Reverend Simpson for conducting this special and unusual service. Under normal circumstances, we would have met at the funeral, but numbers were restricted for reasons that you all know. My father would have been delighted you've participated in today's event. Thank you.
John, you have our condolences. Your dad was a great guy. I loved him for years. So nice to be able to hear today. All the best.
I second that. Alan was a great man.
Thank you, Gwen.
John, my best wishes to all the family. You have our condolences.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for attending today. I don't think we've met. I'm John, one of Alan's two sons. My brother couldn't join us on the Zoom today for some reason. Were you a friend of Alan's?
No.
So how did you know him? Were you in the insurance business yourself?
No, I'm a teacher.
Alan had a wide circle of friends. It comes with living so long, I suppose. Were you involved in his charity work? He was a very giving sort of man.
No, I wasn't involved in his charity work.
Sorry to be nosy, but how did you know him?
He was a relative.
I thought I knew all of his cousins. Are you from Manchester? I remember that he had some family there.
From Coleraine.
Coleraine?
He was my father.
Your father?
Yeah.
Is this some sort of joke? A funeral's hardly the place for that.
I'm not joking. Your father is my father, but with a different mother.
This doesn't make sense.
Look, this isn't the time for this. You've just lost your father. The grief and all.
But what you're saying is bizarre. You turn up at a remembrance service, Zoom or no Zoom, claiming to be his son. I'm his son. I've never heard of you. How does this make sense?
Well, if you want to know, I can tell you, but we can just leave it.
No. Explain what you mean. You're claiming to be my half brother after all, when the only brother I have lives in Cornwall.
Your father was a friend of my mother.
More than a friend, it seems.
Well, you know what I mean.
So you're saying that my father had another child by a different woman to my mother?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But how can I believe you?
To be honest, I don't care if you believe me.
Why did you attend today's Zoom service?
Maybe I would have preferred to attend the funeral in person, and maybe not. I don't know.
But you hung back to talk to me. Why?
I just wanted you to know that I existed.
Listen, if you think there's some pot of gold to be handed out here, you're very much mistaken. Father had two families, and once everything is divided between the seven of us, there's not much left.
I'm not interested in his money, his estate.
Look, how do I know that this is true?
Well, his name is on the birth certificate as the father, 21st of June, 1985.
1985?
Yeah, I was born just after he married his second wife.
He wasn't that sort of man.
What does that mean?
Well, you know.
No, I don't actually know. Do you mean to say he was such a church-going man, an altar rail eater, that he couldn't possibly have had sex outside marriage? Because everyone knows church-going people are such paragons.
Look, everybody knew that my father was a very loyal, very proud.
Sanctimonious, self-righteous, holier than thou.
Can I remind you, whoever you are, that this event was called to remember with fondness and affection a life well spent.
Whoever you are is your half-brother. Not a circumstance of my choosing, but there it is.
How can you prove that you're my half brother?
May come as a surprise to you. I don't have to prove anything. And it may come as an even bigger surprise to you that I'm not exactly over the moon that Alan Dixon was my father. My mother wasn't fond of them in the end. That's why we moved to England.
Why have you made an appearance at today's remembrance service? Why not contact us when my father was living?
As I said, I couldn't give a damn about you, about my father, our father.
And why make an appearance now?
I'm not sure. Curiosity, maybe. I don't know.
And did your mother, I'm sorry, I assume that she's dead. Did she not try and contact him when she was living?
She tried for the first few years, but then stopped. Alan wasn't interested.
That doesn't sound like my father.
Here we go again. He was a deacon of the church, very charitable, etc., etc.
Dismiss those things if you wish, but they are true.
Very charitable. I think the £10 postal order my mum got every Christmas was extremely generous. She used to threaten to throw it in the fire, and it would sit on the mantelpiece for weeks until she decided we were desperate enough we needed the money. A fucking postal order, so it couldn't be traced back to her.
This is all very hard for me to take in.
I can't blame you for your father. I'm sorry, I should go.
No, don't, not just yet. Like, I remember when I was young, my father used to go to Coleraine a lot as part of his job as regional manager. He would audit the books at the local offices. He stayed overnight quite a bit. I suppose that's when he might have met your mother.
Probably. It wasn't a one-off. They were seeing each other for a few years.
A few years? Well, that's a different story.
Does that mean it's different to a one-night stand?
I didn't mean it like that.
That's what it sounded like. And in my mother's research, she found out that in his visits, well, she found out that she wasn't the only woman he was keeping company with.
What, there were more?
Not more children, as far as I'm aware, but in his visits to other towns, he was auditing other women as well as accounts.
You make him sound like some kind of...
Womanizer?
That sounds so crude, so judgmental.
Well, you pick whatever term you feel comfortable with.
The side of him I'd never seen.
How could you? You were a child when he did most of his, pick a term for it. Did your mother never suspect?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't say anything to us. Well, she hardly would to our children, but she was loyal to him. But I always sensed a remoteness between them, very little affection, and she was always so affectionate to us. Christ, you think you know people? Did you ever meet him?
Not exactly. I did take the time and effort to travel to Belfast. It was shortly after my mother died, and I was gonna let him know she was gone. Probably wouldn't have cared, but I thought I'd let him know anyway. I walked into his offices and he was sat there and just looked up.
Did he say anything?
Yeah. He said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" I said no, and I was gonna leave when he made like a comment or a joke to a female colleague and laughed. I don't know what it was, but I just exploded.
And what happened?
Nothing I'm proud about. I called him a lecherous fucker who everyone thought was a great guy, but who didn't care about a woman he had a child with, and maybe something else. I don't remember.
How did he react?
He just sat there and said, "You don't understand." I just left. Don't know how he explained it to the other people in his office.
Well, at least you got it off your chest.
You'd think that, but I felt like shit afterwards. Don't know what I was expecting, but wasn't that. Maybe that's part of why I took part today. I hung back to talk to you.
You know, it hasn't been anything that I ever expected, but you know, it's okay that you did.
Really? I don't know what I was expecting. He's dead. That's it. I just wanted someone to know, as I said, that I existed, even if it's just through a screen miles from each other. Maybe I thought it was easier to do it this way than face to face.
Was it?
Not really. I can see you, but can't feel a presence. Does that make sense? Are you not going to ask me?
Ask you what?
Come on, man. Don't treat me like I'm some kind of fool. Ain't you gonna ask why I'm kind of black?
How does that matter?
I think it probably mattered to your father.
My father wasn't interested in color.
Of course. He was very religious. He'd have no problem disclosing or acknowledging a child to a Nigerian or black mother. In fact, he'd probably have told all his holy mates about it down at church, wouldn't he?
Oh, like times were different back then.
Yeah. Us darkies knew the place.
I don't think I want to continue this conversation. Do you want to meet me or any of the family in person?
Probably not. I think family is more about bonds than blood. Might upset some of your own to learn the truth. I'll leave it up to you whether you want to share my story. As they say, the past is a foreign country.